Time to teach your business to fish. This is Michael Rager, your business guide. Let me get this thing out of my face too much. I'm ugly enough as it is, and you don't need that covenant. Juan was just confirming that for me earlier, so I'm glad to know. So what are we going to talk about today? It's been a great week here in Houston. I actually got to go out and go do some fishing this last week, and I'll talk about that a little bit and go from there. We got a great guest today. I know last week I told you we were going to have Roger DeGregory from the Fish Gallery. Something happened, and Roger had to go to Dallas, so he's going to be joining us in a couple weeks, but we got one of Houston's fastest growing businesses right now, GermWrap, and Manuel Gonzalez is going to come in and talk about what it's like to grow during a pandemic, especially when you make money because of the pandemic. And, that's going to be really fun to talk about that. Well, today I'm sitting there going, okay, Mike, what are you going to do in your startup, your first few seconds? What business book were you going to talk about? So I went into, where I went in and got these out of. I went in and got Saltwater Sportsman's Magazine, and that's a mahi-mahi. When I was in Florida, everybody calls it a dolphin. And why do we want to talk about dolphins? Well, dolphin fishing it's the epitome of marketing. It's really nuts because it's either there's not a damn thing happening, or you're so busy that you can't stay focused. It's dolphin fishing a lot of times. We're Jonathan's showing the guys on the weed bed. They're going out there. You've got to be in the right place at the right time, and that's what you need to see. And I know Manuel, we'll talk about it a little bit today because we've been going through some things where marketing it's kicking ass, and we're getting people right after another, and then there's some times where you're just sitting around and waiting, and that's what fishing's about, and businesses like that. But it's not when you're catching fish that you do the most. It's that time when you're not catching fish and you've got to figure out what you're going to do. And in your business, when you're slow, is it what you do? And I know I've been there, and I wanted to go sit in the corner, and I wanted to pout, and I wanted to not do anything. And I want to look at is, what do you do? What do you do when that's not there? You've got to just sit there and go through the motions. You've got to still run your business. You've got to be pushed on your vision. A lot of the people that follow me on the Teach Your Business to Fish Facebook page, they see I talk a lot about vision. I mentioned one of my friends, Cameron Harold, who's an author. He owns he used to be the COO of 1-800-GOT-JUNK. I mean, this guy is awesome. I steal a whole bunch of his crap, and I teach my people. I call it R&D, rip off and deploy. It's because it's good stuff. You don't want to go. You don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. You need to be the person that understands what good stuff is. Go take it, make it your own, make it better, and grow on top of it. And go from there. And that's one of the things that I've been doing is making sure my people understand vision, where they're going, and what they're trying to do. And when you're fishing and you're fishing for dolphin, you just got to go try. And when you hit them, you hit that school of dolphin just like this. Man, the funny thing about these fish is when there's one, there's more. There's never just one. And one of my best days ever, I think we caught 45 of them, and half of them came on a fly rod. And it was a day I went by myself, and my dad couldn't go. My dad had muscular dystrophy, and there were days he just thought it'd be too rough. And my captain, Don Clark, used to run the Seahorse out of Amarana, Florida. We went out there and we got on this giant sea turtle. I mean, it's the biggest sea turtle I've ever seen. The thing's head was like this big. I went up in the fly bridge, and I was driving the boat while Don was fishing. There had to be 150 dolphin, mahi-mahi following this turtle. It was like a Kroger, a floating Kroger, because there was the turtle, then underneath it was all this bait, and then underneath were all these dolphin, and I'm pretty sure underneath that was a blue marlin or something under there that was picking up the dolphin every once in a while. So I mean, it was just awesome. And business, the funny thing is if we'd have been a half mile away, we would have never saw it. And that brings me up to my fishing trip this weekend. I was down at the coast. I was down at Surfside, and I was in my little kayak, and I'm paddling around, and I'm catching fish like crazy. I'm catching tons of trout. They're all undersized. I caught a couple nice Spanish mackerel as well. But the funny thing was, in my kayak could be about 30 yards farther than the guys from the shore could cast. 30 yards, and I'm crushing it. And they're doing nothing. They're trying. One of my friends was there, and he's like, man, Mike, I caught one trout. I caught 5 in a matter of 4 minutes. And I caught one of them. I caught the fish, got done, unhooked it, threw my lure back in the water, didn't even paddle again, and boom, had another one on. And it just happens. And this is what happens in marketing and business. Sometimes it's boom, sometimes it's bust. But when you have a small bust period, it doesn't mean that the company is done, that everything's on. It's just time to tweak. It's time to tweak. And I think I mentioned one of my mentors, a guy named Brad Sugars. He always talked to me, marketing is math. Marketing is all about math. We've got to understand the math on return on investment and what we do and how we do it. And those are the things that we're going to talk about today. We're going to hit on some of that with Manuel, and I want to do it because I'm going to pick on him because he's one of my clients. And I know he's like most small business owners. When you're starting out, that first year or two is getting that marketing machine rolling, and the frustrations, and you go through the frustrations. But these guys are growing like freaking weeds, and you're going to be amazed at the things that you hear from this guy today on how they do what they do and why they do what they do and the passion they have for what they do. They're experts. Any of you guys saw my post today? The reason I'm having Manuel on is not because, Roger didn't come, not because of this. I was going to have Manuel on anyways, but it's because he's an expert and he's passionate about what he does. And he knows his business inside and out. He's not somebody that just said, oh, there's COVID, let's start a disinfection company. He had the disinfection company going a year ago. And he didn't know that COVID was coming. He didn't know anything that was going on like that. He just knew that this was a needed service and what needs to go on. And this is something that people care about. And they want to make sure that people in their lives are protected. But, this is a guy that's making the transition. He made the transition from corporate America to being an entrepreneur and the scariness that goes with it. And I see him through the window, just nodding his head. He goes, oh my God, yeah, it's scary. It's scary, but it's fun. And it's great when it works and you're ecstatic and you're jumping up and down. And the days that it's not going well, you're like, oh my gosh, why did I do this? And this is what we're going to share. And this is what it's all about. And this is why I do what I do, is because helping and guiding someone along doing this. And that's why I recommend when you go fishing somewhere and you're not from there, go hire a guide. They know what's there. They know how to fish that area. They know what to do. It's the first time I got into business, I hired a coach. I've got 3 of them now. So it's kind of what we need to do. This is what we want to do. It's going to be, we want to get you to the point where you find those mahi-mahi. And my little buzzer's going off. And, Jonathan's giving me the time. And we're just right at about this break time. So we're going to go for a break. This is Mike Rager, Teach Your Business to Fish, your business guide. And we're going to be back with Manuel Gonzalez with GermWrap. And you guys are going to hear some great stuff.
Graphic design, banners, brochures, business cards, posters, any printing you need for your company's branding, Priority Printing SS is your solution. With more than 30 years of experience, Priority Printing SS has been the preferred solution for hundreds of companies for any printed materials. At Priority Printing SS, they believe in listening to you, bringing you creative ideas to effective results. Your printed materials talk about your company. Make sure they open the door for you. Trust your printed materials to the experts. Call Priority Printing SS at 713-575-9800 and let Priority Printing SS handle with ease all your printing needs.
Hi, this is Alberto Tudela. The Houston metro area has experienced a substantial increase of wind and hail damage, flooding, and other perils in the last 5 years. Now more than ever, it is critical and essential to ensure your company, your property, as well as your family have the right insurance coverage. Tudela Insurance Solutions offers a wide variety of insurance for home, auto, property, as well as life insurance. My goal is to find a tailored option that guarantees the right coverage at the right price. Specific to your needs, present and future, so you protect what matters the most. Call me today at 713-714-4475 and allow our team at Tudela Insurance Solutions to make sure you're protected. Accidents never happen when we expect them. Now is the time to ensure you have peace of mind.
COVID-19 transformed the way we do business. Now more than ever, fast lead generation and customer retention will determine if a business survives or not. The Now Media Video Business Card is designed to be sent using your smartphone. It's the next generation business card that will open the door for you while keeping social distancing. The Now Media Video Business Card is affordable for anyone from startups to multinational companies and is already being used by hundreds of businesses. Stay open, stay in business. Call us today.
All right, we're back. Now Media Radio. How are you doing out there? This is Michael Rager, your business guide with Teach Your Business to Fish. And you guys are lucky today. I've got my good friend Manuel Gonzalez. Manuel, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. A little nervous, but doing well.
Little nervous. Don't worry. We'll see what we can. We see what we can do. Manuel's one of my best clients. His company's rocking it right now. He's got a company, GermWrap. Manuel, tell us why did you leave corporate America to start GermWrap?
So going back a few years, my business partner and I were working together, and we actually had a similar sort of incident going on within our lives. Both of our fathers were going through kind of a medical event. His father, something heart-related, my father, more cancer-related. But the recovery process, we were both kind of just talking through and realized, wow, like, to disinfect the space in which they're supposed to be getting better is actually a bigger challenge. And we were working in the medical field, and we had kind of witnessed how disinfection was going down, and we just felt that there was just a more comprehensive and efficient way in which it could be done. And so we started to do some research.
Yeah, but you guys didn't start this GermWrap because of COVID.
No.
This came because of personal things that happened to you, and you guys started the company, almost 2 years ago, 18 months ago?
Yeah, initial concepts and everything. Yep, that's about accurate.
Yeah, and so you got going, you got moving the things on. You spent a lot of research, and that's one of the things that I know about you is you spend a lot of time researching what's going on and the disinfectants out there. How much time did it take you to figure out what's the best approach to do this?
That's what's amazing to me. It's just kind of the speed with which we've seen competition creep up and become the experts. I mean, I wish it was that easy for us. We went through and looked at different manufacturers, if you will, as far as what they were bringing and what that chemistry might look like in an environment. And we were kind of looking for something that wasn't too difficult, if you will, in an environment. So we were pretty fortunate. It took a very long time. I think that's kind of what took us the longest time, was determining the right technology and the right chemistry to put together in a combo. Yeah,
because we see companies right now just popping up left and right. We're the disinfection experts.
Yes.
And what do you think about that?
It's going from a position where when I would initially walk into accounts prior to COVID and discuss, how we're here to disinfect, and we kind of thought we were going to be working in a lot of daycare centers and areas like that. Just going in and kind of starting to educate folks and kind of, pave a way and start a new industry in a lot of ways. But today, to see just the people that have poured into it's a little defeating to some degree, but we continue to churn on and we understand that we're different than the competition to a large degree, just with regard to our understanding and ability to kind of take care of everything.
Yeah, now even with the application methods, I've learned way more about disinfection since I've known you and what's going on and what works, what doesn't, right. Why it works, why it doesn't. I know one of the biggest concerns, we talked early on is people want to see MSDS sheets and they want to, understand what's going on. What are you putting in my house, or what are you
right.
putting in my office? And the stuff that really works are called pesticides.
That is the big secret, if you will. I'm using the word chemistry because when you do use the word pesticide, that's overwhelming. As a matter of fact, when we were first getting into the business, we wanted to be a green technology company, if you will. And so we were trying to find the right way to go about becoming a green designated company. Well, that's impossible because of the chemistry you're using and the way that's designated. You can't make the claim to be green.
Yeah, and it's hard, and people get to the point that just because it's chemistry or just because it's bad,
they pull back.
And that's not true.
Not at all.
And, I know we've talked about there's some other companies that are coming around that have some potential green chemistry, and I know you guys are looking into it, and you're trying to do it because there's a certain segment of your customer base that definitely wants that.
Right.
They would like to have it. But how did you decide with the application technique that you're using? I mean, I want you to explain the EMIS system, and Jonathan, maybe you can go through and on their website, on GermWrap's Facebook page, there's a lot of videos of Manuel applying stuff. Why did you come to the decision to use the machinery you use versus what else was out there?
Well, first off, it was about being comprehensive. We wanted to ensure that when we go into an environment, that when we leave, we're doing the job, if you will, right? So we've looked at fogging machines. I mean, there's pros and cons to a lot of different things, but what we recognize is that with fogging, there's,
There we go. We got some fogging going on there.
You go. Exactly. So there's some of the techniques that we're seeing are just a little off. We're not dragging cords everywhere. We're not touching the equipment. We're touchless. Those are things that we learned were really important. And then, so basically what we're doing is we've taken, and the way that the system works is it's a lot like painting a vehicle. The chemistry is actually charged, positively charged, and it's dispensed out of the unit. And as a result of that, it wraps around all the surfaces, because the majority of surfaces you're looking at are either negative or neutrally charged. So there's this wraparound effect that occurs. And as a result of that, we don't have to come out and oversaturate and really wet, if you will, an environment. So we're coming in, we're applying essentially a thin film, I guess, for lack of a better term. There's a dwell time that's achieved by way of the amount of chemistry that we're putting in. And what's really nice is that it's not overly intrusive. So we're able to go into homes or businesses and actually conduct the disinfection while the customer, the resident, the patron is still in the business. I think people think, oh, disinfection is going to happen, I have to leave. There's this lack of recognition or just misunderstanding kind of what it is. We usually go in the office environments, and we actually are able to disinfect during the workday, where we're able to walk into an office and just tell that person to go on their 15-minute break or what have you, and we disinfect their office, because 10 minutes afterward, so first off, to disinfect an office is going to take maybe a minute. Second, after we're done, 10 minutes later, they can go back into the environment without any concern. That's been disinfected.
We're not worried about them touching anything and getting chemicals in it. It's boom, it's there, and it does the job. It does exactly what it's supposed to do.
Exactly.
So getting this started up, what were some of the biggest struggles that you had in the beginning?
I'd say me. I was probably, there's a level of confidence I think that we all have, but I think the biggest challenge was just becoming, I want to be careful, but becoming an expert to some degree and understanding what I'm talking about. I thought at first I was going to come out and just show people or tell people about what we're offering, and they would just kind of fall over themselves. But what I also learned was, man, there's quite a bit of chemistry you're going to have to learn, and I'm not a chemist by any mean, or and that's not naturally in my realm. So to have to kind of pick that up and kind of understand it and learn it, that was a challenge. And then confidence of going out and just starting from ground. I've told you before, they say starting a business is hard. That's such, I wish that word was, it's not a strong enough word. It's harder than hard. I just don't know how to describe that more accurately.
Yeah, it is difficult. And, both you and I, we came from the corporate world. I came from the environmental world. You came from the medical sales and medical stuff. And you understand it, as we understand what's really going on. Mm-hmm. But when we jump into business, a lot of times we're really good at what we do. And then we start realizing there's a whole bunch of other things.
So many areas that have been covered.
That like, crap, nobody told me about this.
Right. That's been handled.
And how do we do it? And I know, marketing, when you and Jeanette, and we first met, my goal was just to tell you guys get out of the house and knock on doors.
Right.
And this was pre-COVID, because there was no such thing as this. We didn't know about it.
Not at all.
It was a little, because we met in what is like November, December?
Yep. October, November, yes.
Yeah, last year we started working together in end of December, beginning of January. And, there was no COVID.
Right.
But your business is kind of go because of COVID. And yay, that's a good thing.
Right.
But it's sure put in a whole bunch of competition.
It certainly has changed the dynamic.
the dynamic has certainly changed a lot. So now looking from January 1 to here now, August 1, what's been the greatest? What do you think has been your greatest accomplishment as a business owner, seeing your business grow?
I would say just taking a concept literally from essentially nothing to where we're at today, to having employees, to growing our brand, to having a conversation with you and doing podcasts. Like, these things start to make you feel more confident in what you're doing and understand that other people believe in what you're offering. And so I think that that's probably what I'm most proud of is to just be here today still as GermWrap.
Yeah, I know early on it was scary.
Oh my God.
You walk away from a corporate gig and insurance and all this stuff, and it's like, oh my God, where's the money coming from? Where's the money coming from? We believe in what we do. We know what we've got. Because I told you from the minute I met you, I think this is a multi-million-dollar company for sure, and it's going to be worth it. And that's what we're building it to. I mean, we're building it. I keep preaching on here to build a sellable asset. At least what these guys are doing. They're building a sellable asset. It's that's what they want. I mean, you're getting to the point that I want to cover in the last couple of minutes we've got here. I mean, you started to even branch out into other cities.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Just so as we were operating, we started to get requests from other areas asking if we were if we would be willing to operate in their neck of the woods. They wanted to kind of take the brand. We've seen a lot of people kind of do some research on us, and without bragging, they've said that we've done a really good job, and they kind of want to take this brand and bring it along. Admittedly, we've kind of pulled back on the reins. We understand growth is really good, but we want to make sure it's controlled and that our brand stays, consistent and remains kind of consistent with what we're doing, I should say.
Yeah, you've got to control what's going on with your company. I mean, GermWrap is your baby,
right?
You've got to take it off, and I know some of the people. I really haven't met many of the other people yet that you've brought on yet, but you're very careful and you spend a lot of time vetting. I know one of the things that we don't like is spending money on lawyers and CPAs and stuff like that, but it happens because we need that advice.
Absolutely.
We need to make the right decisions going in, because I know when you were talking about going into Oklahoma, you got somebody there that's very interested, but the laws in Oklahoma were way different than here in Texas.
Absolutely.
And, how did what did you and your partner, Marcos, what do you guys have to sit down and decide before you said, hey, I'm going to go here?
It's just, kind of going through the process and understanding where the opportunities are and whether or not they kind of fit in realm. And obviously region-wise, that was kind of a big plus for us. And I do want to kind of touch on, this has been being able to work with you. One of the challenges that I faced is, like, I turn to my immediate family or my network, and I just don't have people I can go to ask business questions. And that's why I'm grateful for what you've been able to provide.
Well, I think it's been, John Walker, who's
it's amazing.
There, Sean Butler, CPA.
Absolutely.
You've been able to meet some really good people that are there to give you good advice, and that's what it's all about. Because growth is something that we really, really want with businesses. We really want them to grow, and we want them to grow quickly. But there's a problem with growing quickly, is you don't get it under control.
Right.
And we've got to have it under control. There's a problem with growing too slow, is other people can come over and take over where you want. But it's just a very fine line that you need to walk and run sometimes, and go from there. What do we got right now, Jonathan? About a minute-ish? 2 minutes. Okay, well, 2 minutes. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I love about how professional we are here. Yeah, get the big thumbs up from the other side. Yep, that's what we're all about. We don't take ourselves too darn seriously here. Let's go with I want you to answer this one question before we go to break. Now, in the beginning when I first met you, your wife Jeanette was really hard. What part of the success of the company did you attribute to your wife?
Oh, I would almost say all of it. First off, just her supporting me and ensuring that, we keep going, and everything she's done with regard to the back office and the promotion and the videos and just, everything. She understands social media. I'm such an old fogey, if you will. That is just not my realm. And I remember talking to Marcus about likes and all this stuff, and he's like, who cares? Like, it doesn't bring you well, we've come to realize that brings you business. So it's a lot more important than we've probably ever realized. And we attribute, both of us have Marcus and I have acknowledged that the majority of our success is due to her.
Yeah, if you see all the videos that you see on the GermWrap page, those are pretty much Jeanette's the brainchild behind them. So we give her the big thumbs up there.
Huge thumbs up.
She does a great job. I love it when she calls me to complain about you. She's like, oh my God. All right, so Jonathan, we ready to head towards break right now? All right, so we're going to close up this segment. Man, well, I want to come back next, and I want to go into more detail about how GermWrap functions and why your solution is the best. So this is Michael Rager, your business guy, Teach Your Business to Fish. We'll be back here in a minute or two. Pay attention to those commercials.
Hello, I'm Jose Hernandez, retired NASA astronaut, entrepreneur, and proud son of migrant farm workers. Our migrant families do very important work. Many follow the harvest and move frequently throughout the U.S. and thus have many needs. One way to improve your family's future is by participating in the 2020 census. The census only occurs every 10 years, but it affects public funding for clinics, schools, and other essential programs for our communities. Each person must be counted at the address where they live the most during the year. However, if you move frequently, don't worry. Simply fill out your questionnaire where you are living on April 1st, 2020. The information you provide is confidential and is not shared with other government organizations. The future of our families depends on you. So make yourself count before July 31st. For more information, visit the website 2020census.gov.
Hi, this is Alberto Tudela. The Houston metro area has experienced a substantial increase of wind and hail damage, flooding, and other perils in the last 5 years. Now more than ever, it is critical and essential to ensure your company, your property, as well as your family have the right insurance coverage. Tudela Insurance Solutions offers a wide variety of insurance for home, auto, property, as well as life insurance. My goal is to find a tailored option that guarantees the right coverage at the right price, specific to your needs, present and future, so you protect what matters the most. Call me today at 713-714-4475 and allow our team at Tudela Insurance Solutions to make sure you're protected. Accidents never happen when we expect them. Now is the time to ensure you have peace of mind.
COVID-19 transformed the way we do business. Now more than ever, fast lead generation and customer retention will determine if a business survives or not. The Now Media Video Business Card is designed to be sent using your smartphone. It's the next generation business card that will open the door for you while keeping social distancing. The Now Media Video Business Card is affordable for anyone from startups to multinational companies and is already being used by hundreds of businesses. Stay open, stay in business. Call us today.
All right, we're back. This is Michael Rager, your business guide with Teach Your Business to Fish, and we're here learning why in the heck we should germ wrap our business. Got Manuel Gonzalez. Manuel, I got a question. All right, we talked a little bit about the other things that are out there. Why is the solution that you use, the germ wrap way, why do you feel that's the best way to protect, a facility, a home, or whatever? Why do you guys decide that? What's the best about the technology?
I think it kind of starts with the electrostatics. If you start to do some research, you're going to find that the best way to disinfect, in the Cadillac of ways, if you will, to disinfect is through electrostatics. So that's kind of just the first step. And as a matter of fact, that's primarily the magic, if you will, to a large degree. But so using that, and then with the chemistry that we're using it's actually what your body produces. Hypochlorous acid is what your body produces when you're fighting an infection. So that's what we're using to disinfect your space. But so those two technologies or what have you together are what allow us to kind of do the job in the most efficient manner. And then secondly, just as an example, if you have, say, a 2,500 to, say, 3,000 square foot home, generally we're able to disinfect that space within 30 minutes or so. I mean, it's something that goes relatively, quick.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot on Facebook, other businesses, competitors of yours that are pushing fogging machines.
Right.
And why is what you do better or more efficient than a fogging machine, for example?
So with the fogging machine, what's happening is that there's a lot of chemistry that's put into the space. And I think that a lot of people might think that that's a good thing. But if you look at kind of research as far as disinfecting or eliminating bugs or pathogens or whatever it is, they actually want you to start with the lowest dosage, lowest level, because if not, that's sort of what's leading to these super bugs. We're coming in and we're being very aggressive with everything, and as a result, over time, they're developing these defense mechanisms. So you start off kind of low dosage. So first off, that's what we feel is an advantage. Second, it's the speed with which we're going to be able to do the process. We're going to be in there, we're going to knock the room out, and we're going to come out, and like I said, in 10 minutes, you're going to be able to go back in. That's not necessarily the case with fogging. And then secondly, so let's say that we fog this space. Are we fogging underneath this desk, or are we fogging above the desk? Because there's a shadowed area where obviously you're going to have an area that's not going to get disinfected. So there's just a lot of disadvantages. The chemistry doesn't cling, if you will. That's sort of the advantage of the electrostatics again. So we can put it anywhere. It stays where it's at. It achieves its dwell time or contact time and dries up without us interfering. It's touchless.
Even with your stuff, you can spray. Okay, get it down, and then, because I know you guys own a bakery as well. You guys own a Beard Papa's over in Bel Air. You got to push
Chinatown,
that out.
yes.
In Chinatown,
go check us out.
I go get fat over there when I eat that
Some
stuff.
delicious cream puffs.
They are. But you go in there and you disinfect that. But when you go in and clean and wipe down the counters, it's not getting rid of the chemistry, correct?
Right. No. So the chemistry is so first off, obviously, what we say is that disinfection is essentially the most effective disinfection is a two-step process. The first step is actually coming in and cleaning, removing debris, etc. Then the second step is actually coming in and doing the disinfection. I think a lot of people sometimes think, as an example, when you take those Clorox wipes and you're disinfecting the kitchen island or countertops, and my wife Jeanette would get on to me, hey, can you go and get the island ready? So I would wipe it down with the Clorox wipe, and I'm blowing it or fanning it, trying to, okay, let's get cooking. Well, now that I'm in this space, I've come to realize, let's say that there was a pathogen on that island, and let's say it was where I started to wipe. Well, all I did was encourage that pathogen to be spread all over the counter because I'm not keeping the counter wet for the designated dwell time. So I'm thinking I've done a good thing, and in reality, I've just actually put my family more at risk.
So that they go in and use that Clorox and they move it. They move the pathogen from point A to point B, and maybe moved it from point A
and spread it.
B,
Exactly.
And then that Clorox has to stay there wet for a certain period.
You have to
of
keep
time
wiping
to kill it.
Yep.
Yeah, you just can't. Like, I'm like you, man. I'm the
wipe and sometimes even dry right after.
Yeah, wipe dry. Let's go in. Dead chicken, dead fish on there.
We're good.
Who cares? We're good. We're guys.
And that's exactly. You're guests with a lot more people than you think.
I know, and that's where it is. So this stuff, because I've looked at it and I've had some people tell me, oh, you got to go in and fog. You got to go in and fog. And my ceilings don't need to be disinfected. Right.
I mean, unless your kids are hanging from the rafters. I mean, so what we're focused on is touch points. And I think maybe the best way to think about this is, so just as much as you have a pest control company that comes in and eradicates pests, well, we're doing the same thing, just on a a micro level, if you will. And so we're getting rid of the pathogens and the flu. There's a whole. It's not just coronavirus. And as a matter of fact, in theory, we've been defeating coronavirus before because it's a common COVID-19, just being the newest iteration. But we've been defeating these types of pathogens or what have you for a long time. When we were working last year at my business partner's private school, we were actually trying to conduct a study. Obviously, COVID derailed it. But so we were disinfecting the school, and the staff was stating, the teachers were saying that there was actually an increase in the overall attendance. For good in some ways. I think some of the teachers perhaps like some absenteeism to some degree, but
the right kids.
Right. But ultimately, it's a big deal, right? You want to be able to keep the kids in school, and you want to ensure that they're not getting sick at school and then bringing that home to mom and dad. And now mom and dad are even potentially affecting corporate America. So I think it just is kind of a different way to look at it today, and that's why we started when we did. It's not just based on what's going on today.
I know my son and I. Those of you that saw my very first show, my son was out here. He and I, we're huggy, and he comes home with something from school, dude, I've got it the next day. There's no doubt. It is. My wife doesn't get it. You know, it's funny. We came home from fishing the other day, and you know, my wife is a little bit anal about this stuff. Okay, and he had a king dog left, and he wanted to share it with her. He said, "You want to bait?" And I'm like, "Why don't you just pick it up and take a bite?" And she goes, "Well, nobody wants my saliva on there." And so she cut a little piece out of it. And then one of my buddies posted on Facebook today a picture of somebody blowing out of candles on a birthday cake and say, "Remember the day when we used to encourage spitting on food?"
Right.
And that crap's gone. I don't think there's ever going to be a birthday candle on a cake again in history.
We just did it. My daughter just turned 16. I know I don't look old enough to have a 16-year-old, but the way we blew out, she had to fan them out.
We're not blowing out candles anymore. This stuff's really changing. So let's go into the business side of GermWrap. What's been I know we talk about it all the time. We talk about a lot of marketing on this show.
Yes.
What's been the toughest part?
Definitely marketing. It's such a beast. It's a bear. It's something I think that, like you were saying earlier, like there are different aspects in corporate America that are like, I thought, man, I'm really good. I've got this management thing down. Wow. I didn't realize all the pieces that are vitally important to keeping the organization going and trying to find the right place. And I mean, at the end of the day, the challenge we face is getting people to know who we are and what we offer. And I mean, it's very difficult, particularly in this day and age, to just walk up and knock on a door, right? Or now even make a phone call. I mean, people are guarded. So I think marketing is by far the biggest challenge.
It really is. And, you know, I've been in business coaching for 10 years. It is the small business guy. It's tough. And, you know, you spend money on this and you spend money on that. And it's all, testing and measuring.
Right.
This works, this doesn't. This works, this doesn't. This works, this doesn't. The thing is once you find what works, things start to really go. And and the funny thing is, and this is where the big companies kind of mess with us a little bit, the Googles and the Facebook, they keep changing algorithms on us. It's like, crap, we think we just got it dialed in and we got it going, and then you go make a change on us.
Start all over.
You know, and, you know, but I go back to the fishing. It's the same here. It's, you know, we had a hurricane come through the Gulf the other day. Everything was perfect. Freaking hurricane. Now we got to go wait for everything to get all calm again and figure this out. And it's just the way business is. And, you know, we've got to get there and we've got to push it and we've got to move. You know, what about the operations side? You know, you're bringing on your first, you're bringing on some partners now. You're not quite franchising yet, but you're bringing in partners in different areas. You're bringing on your first employees. What's the challenges there that you see?
I think so right now, I mean, I'm owner-operator, so going out and doing the work and coming home and being dad and husband and, you know, back office, you wonder how do you add more hours to the day? And I know that that's cliche and I'm not saying anything new, but I mean, ultimately that's been the biggest challenge. I feel bad as a parent to some degree having to be absent, and we've had very real conversations with our children, just kind of explaining kind of what our family is going through right now. We feel it's pretty unique, and we obviously feel this is worthwhile. So
how much do you like my son? I've had him start his own business. I've got him doing these things, and he was on the show. How much do you involve your kids in what's going on? How much do they know? So
my kids are very informed. As a matter of fact, my son Emilio wants to go and spray for us. I don't know what child labor laws are like in regard, but he's very much excited about it. He actually has figured out our schedule to some degree. When we get home, he's like, "Where did you go today?" or what have you. And my daughter Lily, I think she's more interested in boys at this stage than she is the business. We do talk to her about what's going on, but I don't think it's as sexy, if you will.
Yeah. And my son does the same thing, because I get out of the house a couple of days, because like everybody knows you're working on the house, and it kind of sucks. Your house is supposed to be that place you go to relax and rest. And when you're in it all day working, it's not a relaxation and resting place. So I get out a couple of days a week and I go work. And that's the thing I look at is how do I do it? My son does the same thing. He knows the days I'm gone. He knows what I'm doing. Like tonight, I've actually got a cigar event to go to. And look at, you brought me a cigar, man. Look at that. Look at that little Komatsu 2020, That's the kind of guy I love. But we're actually going up there to blend in the Woodlands. There's a bunch of business owners going up there tonight, smoke some cigars, just get to know each other. And it's, we're to social distance as much as we can. Because I figure whiskey's as good as GermWrap.
Yeah, it's pretty strong.
Pretty just like GermWrap.
Yeah, if you don't GermWrap, just drink.
Just drink it. Just drink it, and we'll get it going that way. Well, I want to look at this. I'm going to ask one more question. I want a nice short answer.
Oh boy.
Partnerships. What's it like? I mean, what's the best part about having a partner? And what's the hardest part?
So I think I'm accustomed to the employee type of relationship. And so in this circumstance, it's kind of like, well, here's the framework or the guide work. Now go. And you're just crossing your fingers, hoping, right? You don't want to push too much, and you're just waiting for questions, really.
Yeah, you just got to get your partners to go, and you got to kick him in the ass a little bit. I got a guy that's working for me. I haven't heard from him in 2.5 weeks.
Well,
he pays me a little bit to be part of my team, and I invoice him today. I build his credit card. Yes. I'm hoping I just don't. But, it's like, hey, look, a lot of this is on you.
Right.
You've got to go do the work.
You control the success.
You got to control it. So Jonathan, we ready to kick off here? All right, man. So we're gonna go to break again. So Jonathan's gonna take it out there. We're gonna talk to have our sponsors and all those great people that pay the bills here. Talk to you. Then we're gonna come back. We're gonna talk a little bit more about business, but then I want to talk about the fun side of life and why we actually got into business for ourselves. So Michael Razor, Teach Your Business to Fish. We'll be back in a minute.
Our nation is being seriously affected, not only emotionally, but also clinically. Parents or guardians dealing with a teenager in crisis that require transport to an appropriate treatment facility makes that decision even more difficult. My Armor Services Transport is here to help. Their agents are personal protection officers and private investigators, state certified and trained to accommodate firm boundaries and de-escalations, all while recognizing your loved one's sense of individuality and dignity. Most times your loved one will not respond favorably to being placed in a treatment program. Positive and safe transportation assistance becomes critical when violent or defiant behavior to a placement is anticipated. My Armor Services Transport understands this is a difficult time for you and your family. They are committed to transporting your loved one with dignity, respect, securely, and with compassion. Let them assist with this heavy burden. Call today at 1-800-341-0919 and let My Armor Services Transport be the first strong step you take toward resolving this difficult and complicated issue. Graphic design, banners, brochures, business cards, posters, any printing you need for your company's branding, Priority Printing SS is your solution. With more than 30 years of experience, Priority Printing SS has been the preferred solution for hundreds of companies for any printed materials. At Priority Printing SS, they believe in listening to you, bringing you creative ideas to effective results. Your printed materials talk about your company. Make sure they open the door for you. Trust your printed materials to the experts. Call Priority Printing SS at 713-575-9800 and let Priority Printing SS handle with ease all your printing needs. COVID-19 transformed the way we do business. Now more than ever, fast lead generation and customer retention will determine if a business survives or not. The Now Media Video Business Card is designed to be sent using your smartphone. It's the next generation business card that will open the door for you while keeping social distancing. The Now Media Video Business Card is affordable for anyone from startups to multinational companies and is already being used by hundreds of businesses. Stay open, stay in business. Call us today.
All right, we're back. This is Michael Razor, your business guide with Teach Your Business to Fish, and my good friend Manuel Gonzalez with GermWrap. All right, Manuel. So let's talk about your customers and pricing and all this stuff. How do you price? I mean,
that's actually a really, really good question. So a lot of times we get phone calls and people, want to tell me, hey, I have a 5,000 or 10,000. How much is it? I think that, so the challenge that we face is, so I want you to think about, say, a 5,000 square foot school versus, say, a 5,000 square foot office or a 5,000 square foot gym. There's just between those three entities, there's just different real estate inside of those businesses. And then secondarily, within each business, sometimes there's just more saturation with it. So as much as I would like to say that for a 5,000 square foot space, it would be X, well, if I walk in and it's almost a hoarder's paradise, it changes the dynamic quite a bit. So most of the time we have to actually come and see the site. And in the event that we actually can't go because of the COVID concerns, we're able to do the FaceTime kind of walkthrough with these individuals and give a quote.
You just closed the business today.
We did.
Doing FaceTime, didn't you?
We did. We closed the deal today and took care of that.
Yeah. How often should people be looking at using your service? Is this a one-off? Should they be doing it multiple times? What should they be looking at?
So we've seen a variety. We've seen some people kind of approaching us, just they've had an exposure and they want to ensure that their home is disinfected. So we have had some residential customers sign up, and we're taking care of that on a monthly basis because they're not necessarily concerned about people coming in on a regular basis. Sometimes we have them just do one time. Now then on our commercial side, in our corporate accounts, more times than not, we're treating those on a weekly basis. And then we have a few clients that are retaining us multiple times a week. But what I would say is when you take a step back and you've looked at essentially the disinfection levels that you've been in the past compared to where you're at today, I mean, obviously even once a month is a tremendous improvement, and just you're helping ensure the quality for your staff, for your patrons and your customers or what have you. So just making sure you don't spread that disease or sickness.
Yeah. Does it really depend on how many people that you've got coming in
Absolutely.
and touching services? Like a bus, because I know when we first met, you were looking at potentially getting some buses in Houston, and those things were going to have to be almost done daily.
Right. It was going to have to be something that was going to be treated on a regular. Now, and this kind of parlays a little bit. So right now you might hear different companies talking about being able to disinfect or what have you for an extended period of time, even 90 days. Those chemistries or technologies are called antimicrobial surface protectants. Now, a lot of people say theirs last 90 days. Antimicrobial surface protectants is a pretty general term, and then there's a bunch of, subscribers, if you will, this brand, that brand. But ultimately what it is it's a nanotechnology that's applied on surfaces, and it does basically continue to provide protection. The challenge is, and obviously because of the medical background, the EPA has never evaluated these chemistries and said that they are effective against viruses. So what these manufacturers have done is they've gone to independent chemistry laboratories or what have you and have proven there that these technologies do eradicate viruses. But again, the EPA hasn't approved it, so as a result, we don't make that claim. Now, we do have customers that have opted to use the antimicrobial. We still come in on a weekly basis and ensure that we're, again, because of legal speak, we're taking care of the viruses. But then there's this barrier technology that lasts. Now, they say it lasts 90 days. In conversations and research that we have done, what we're finding is that it lasts 30 days on your high touch point areas, this desk, areas where hands are frequently touching. Up on the ceiling would be more your 90-day protection because there's just not as much interaction there. And then in a restaurant environment where there's more vigorous scrubbing going on a more regular basis, the technology breaks down a little faster. Roughly 2 weeks is what we're understanding.
So is there a price point different on the longer the technology lasts?
Yep. So we most of our clients, I will say, go with the first level, just the one treatment. But yes, if they do the second treatment, I would say it's almost 1.75 to double the price, typically somewhere in that range. And it obviously requires basically double the time because it requires 2 different passes.
Mm-hmm. What's Oh crap! This is what happens with age, man. I had a great question. It's just right out of my head. All right, what should customers? What should they be afraid of if they see a company come in and say, we're going to disinfect your space? What should make them run?
I think you want to know, how long have you been doing it? What are you using? How are you doing it? And when they tell you that they can fight viruses, look at those SDS sheets. We've had a lot of people tell us that, but when you really dig into the legal stuff that the government has approved, that's just not there. Now, again, an independent laboratory may have proven it, but the government's still not there. So it's hard for me to say that laboratory is And so I think you just want to know what they're utilizing.
Yeah, it's there. So if you got somebody coming up with a garden sprayer, spritzer,
is it really something? Do they know what they're using?
I think when Jonathan pulled up that first video, he had the guy that's kind of looking like he's. If they're in Ghostbusters suits,
right? It's a bit aggressive.
You're coming out, because I know you did a post once and I commented on it, and this guy called back or commented. You just wonder where these people come out of Facebook. I'm a crime scene investigator, and there's no way that you could do this because you'd have to have on level 3 suits and you don't want that dude coming in there right now, do you?
No, that's not what I'm looking for. I mean, we're not wearing these big suits. The suits are. I mean, he's now, because of that suit, he's rubbing up against stuff and he's actually spreading it everywhere. And so I think it's just overkill. There are some environments, obviously, where that's appropriate, but we haven't necessarily found ourselves in any of this stuff.
There
this
we go.
Is crazy.
I think that's going to protect you from COVID. Yes. But you've got to get the professional. I mean that's what you want, and but still, when you look at a lot of your posts and what's going on, you guys are still pushing wash your hands.
Right.
Do what you need to do everything that everybody's telling you. There's no politics in what you guys do.
No, we're not here. We wear masks, not in any sort of a political, just to ensure that we're not infecting anyone, if you will, right? It's just a responsibility that we're taking. We're very cautious. The last thing we want to do is spread COVID. That's not what we're chasing. That's not what we're attempting to do.
Yeah, and again, going back to the beginning, you guys didn't start this business because of COVID. You started it before. You guys have been around. You researched. You took your time to really understand what's best for your clients.
Absolutely.
And right now you've been doing some residential places, and I keep telling you,
yes, you don't. But like that.
You've got some really nice. What's your guarantee on if somebody gets COVID?
Yeah, so we've had customers sign up, and so the customers that have weekly contracts with us. So let's say that there is a COVID exposure, we have our CERT team, our COVID emergency response team, that's going to come out within 24 hours. Typically, our response time has been like 2 or 3 hours, but we get out there. We're going to do a free treatment in the event that in that same month there's a second exposure. They get 25% off the additional treatments.
Yeah, it's usually somebody gets it from somewhere else.
Correct.
Brings it in and they don't know, and we just want to make sure that you guys have gone through and you've treated the area. Somebody's come in that we know has come in contacted.
Right.
We're going to go ahead and treat it and make sure again that we try to get rid of it and do what we need to do. All right, we got about 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes left here. Let's get away from business. Let's talk about life.
Let's talk about life.
We were talking about this is the teacher business to fish, and a lot of my people like to fish, and you and your family, you've gone down to Corpus.
Yes.
You did some fishing. What does the GermWrap family do outside of GermWrap now?
So we did escape to South Padre Island. I met up with Marcus, my business partner, and we did go. We hit up the beach. We took it easy, and we did some fishing. I actually, we're going out to the bay in South Padre Island, and my son Emilio says, "Hey, Dad, I think we're gonna catch trout." And I'm like, "No, we're going in the bay. Like, I think trout swim upstream or what have you." Sure enough, the first fish and almost all of the fish we caught were trout, and then he caught a small black tip shark. So I mean, just quite the experience. I'm not an avid fisherman. Marcus, my business partner, is, but just to be able to get out there and fish and experience that, and that was also his first fish ever caught. I mean, just what an amazing experience.
Yeah, it's fun to get kids out there. I take my son, is those you guys know the father. My son loves to go with me. I've tried to get him into football. I tried to get him on to watch hockey with me, and his attention span's in that. I get him on the boat, man. I don't know. He just loves it, and he'll stay out there all day, and he'll have a good old time, and he'll play with the baits. He'll play with everything. That's what 9-year-olds do.
Yep.
And they have a lot of that fun. Now, you guys also own another business.
Yep.
And so you guys are kind of serial entrepreneurs. Tell us a little bit about the other business.
Yep. So we have a little bakery. It's a Japanese cream puff franchise that we brought to Houston, Chinatown. It's called Beard, as in my facial hair, Papa's. Maybe not the best name. I remember when I invested, I was telling my mother about it, and she says, "Manuel, I'm not sold on the name. Maybe you can change it." And I was like, Mom, there's over 400 of these locations internationally. I don't think they're going to listen to me about changing the name. But yeah, it's a delicious cream puff. It has a shell, and then we inject it with either vanilla custard, green tea custard, chocolate custard, and sometimes we have a flavor of the month. I think right now is ice cream, but they're chocolate covered, Oreo. I mean, just a whole host.
They're really good.
They're pretty delicious. There you go.
Good.
There we go.
I love them all, but the green tea.
I don't. I think it tastes like grass, and I know that's not the right thing to say, but
I guess it's that you gotta love it.
That's it.
You know,
and I don't.
If you love green tea, that's there. I know the first couple meetings we had at Beard Papa's, and you know, your wife would pack up a to-go thing with me. It's like, no, Jeanette, I'm trying to lose
weight. That's right.
I'm trying to lose some weight, man. Don't give me like 9 of these things. They're not even gonna make it to the Beltway.
It's the anti-diet.
They're so good.
But I will also say that because they are a Japanese cream puff, they're not quite as sweet as you would anticipate. They're a little less sweet for the Asian palate's a little not.
Yeah,
not
it is.
That.
It's really good. You know, I love them. I love them. So what's the ultimate goal with GermWrap? Where are you and Marcus taking this thing?
You know, I think it's a brand. You know, when you think of disinfection, I want you to think of GermWrap. I think that we have obviously a lot of room to grow as a business entity. I want to be faced with the conundrum, do I sell the business? Because we had decided when we started the business that in 5 years we were going to part ways with it. But I want to really be faced with the situation. Do I let go, you know, and say, okay, or, you know, do I still have that drive and we keep pushing? And so I'm actually pretty excited about that.
I know you had that option really early on.
Yes, we did.
Glad we didn't take that turn, didn't we?
No, yeah. I'm happy we've continued on the pathway.
All right, we got about 3 minutes left. Tell people how they get a hold of you.
So we're on all social media, GermWrap.com. If you go there, you're going to see all of our phone numbers. Here locally, we're 832-612-7740. That's to come and get direct to us. We'll come out and schedule an appointment or what have you. But again, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, I don't even know all the things. I wish my wife was here right now. She could explain this so much better than I. There we go. That's all of our locations currently, and we have 2 more coming online.
Yeah, so it's great, man. I'm glad you were here. I know you were nervous at the beginning.
Can't say thanks enough.
It was, just what we had to do. So, we've got to look at what's going on, guys. Look, Manuel, when I started with you, man, you were scared.
Yeah, I was not down with this.
You were scared, and there's days I know when he picks up the phone and is like, "Oh God, Mike, I hate this."
I was way out of my comfort zone.
But you're moving around. You're moving this company in the right direction. I mean, it's every month is getting better and better and better. And the setbacks happen. We know it. That's why I wanted to talk a little bit about the dolphin fishing and stuff this morning. It really is. Business is boom and bust, and that's what it does. It moves forward. It comes back, and I'm really glad that Manuel and Jeanette get my little fishing analogies.
Yes.
Jeanette's always telling people to quit fishing with hot dogs. So it's understanding where the business is. Tonight I'm doing my group coaching. We're taking we're on the week right now where we're really breaking down the niche. Who really do we want to as customers? And I know you guys have done it, and that's the kind of things we need to do. The things I gotta put out to you guys. We got some for you big customers out there. We got some grants. For our $2,000 a month coaching fee, our coaching clients, we got some $5,000 grants where we'll do 5 months of coaching for $1,000, half off. There's things that were out there. If you guys are interested in some of the grants, call me 713-201-5559. I'm looking for some coaches too. If you know anybody if you think you're good and you would like to be a coach, that'd be great. Reach out to me. And also, if you think you should be sitting in Manuel's seat, you think you've got something to share to the business community out there. We specialize in these businesses that are start up to $5 million. That's where we really want to go. That's our really sweet spot. We got some bigger guys coming on. Don't worry. Hopefully in the future we're gonna have Kevin Beach that owns a Mexican Gulf Fishing Company. The guy makes like $13 million a year fishing. Like I said, we're going to have on Roger DeGregory of Fish Gallery. He's getting ready. We're talking tomorrow with a company that owns a distillery. So they're going to get to my heart through vodka. It's all the good stuff. That's how you get to me. It's vodka, cigars, fishing, whiskey. That's the thing. So, this is Michael Rager, your business guide with Teach Your Business to Fish. Go out there and have a great week this week and become a real success. We'll see you guys next week.